Now we're recording.
Okay. So let's try and see if you can focus in here and see what I'm doing here.
What you just missed was me talking to nobody for 30 seconds because I can't.
So
I have the dumb.
I squeeze the pit out like this.
What are we looking at?
A cherry that was frozen and is now thawed. And I squeeze, there's the pit. Pit goes over there. Cherry goes in there. Squeezing it like this so as to capture the juice that comes out when you squeeze it out.
Yes, there are things you are available online. You can use. They're like cherry pitters. They're on Amazon. We did not do that, and this will probably be what. Oh, and I forgot to mention this is a pint of cherries that was frozen that we've thawed, and this is an incredibly painstaking process. But hey, we have the time today, so why not? Not painstaking. It's just time consuming. So. You know, if you like that kind of thing, go for it. This will probably be the last time we do a cherry mead. But the cherry meads have turned out pretty good so far.
They've turned out okay. Just they tend to be a little too much like cough syrup for most people, and the amount of effort involved in pitting the cherries isn't worth it. I do a sour cherry mead, which I'm much happier with how it comes out in flavor, and I may continue with that. Although sour cherries are somewhat smaller, so you end up with actually more work, but the flavor is more satisfying. So we'll have to see. I have some in the freezer that I'll be doing in a little while, and we'll see if I get more this summer or not.
And while we were away, when we were pausing, what were you doing, Attila?
I added the yeast to the carboy.
To the peach mead carboy.
Peach mead carboy, and stirred it up. Usually when I use the narrow mouth carboys, I just shake it up, but I don't have a lid that closes the wide mouth one well enough to do that. So I stirred it up to get the yeast spread through, the yeast and the yeast nutrients spread throughout the must, what is going to be fermenting. And,
what is must, Attila?
That's the stuff that's going to be fermenting.
Actually, what is the difference between dregs? There's so much lexicon. There's so much terminology.
Well, you have the must is what you start with that you add yeast to start the ferment process. Dregs is what is left over when you have taken the fermented product off. It's generally made up of the bits of fruit or whatever other flavoring you have added and the dead husks of the yeast. Because yeast can only tolerate a certain amount of alcohol, and then the alcohol kills it off, which is the limiting factor on how much alcohol a brewed beverage can have. If you want more than that, you have to do some kind of distilling or other method of separating water from the alcohol.
So once this is then done...
Once I have done pitting the cherries, I will add pectic enzyme to this, and I will puree it. I don't always puree it, but I've found that to be the best way to get it into the carboys, fine enough to get into the carboys. And since cherries are significantly juicier than peaches, I won't have a problem with it being too thick to put through the funnel. So it will, yeah. And I will have to then also measure out the honey. I'll probably be using about 4 pounds of honey. I may decide to go a little drier. I haven't made up my mind yet. As you might guess, this is one of the how sweet or dry I intend the mead to go is something I make up my mind about when I measure out the honey. I may have an idea starting out when I start working on it for the day, but I don't actually make up my mind until I measure the honey, and that's based on what I think, based on previous efforts, or if it's not something I've done before, just what I think that will be the best for the flavor that I'm working with. So, yeah, that's.
BRB.